Essentially, the ant is asking me to face all of my fears, including the fears that the chameleon holds of being seen or not seen, and instead to raise my frequency to love. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to hide anymore. Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas. Today is Christmas Day, and it's the last day of my 40-day spiritual journey. This 40-day spiritual journey was inspired by the robin, the bird, the robin, in the dream arc. And the dream arc is a special teaching within the Gene Keys, and it's all taught by animals. It's basically the Gene Keys in animal form. The robin itself has a specific mission for you to do. Not all animals do, but the robin does. For 40 days, you must imagine yourself as a great soul. You must reinvent your life from the inside out. How will you speak? Behave? How will you think? What will become important to you? This is the journey I invite you into. Okay? So part of that journey is to pick an enlightened one, a great one, and do your best to emulate them. Well, I picked Teresa of Ávila, who was a Spanish mystic. She was a nun. She was of the Carmelite order, I believe. And then I went even further and learned about Teresa of Ávila through Carolyn Myss. Carolyn Myss wrote a beautiful book called Entering the Castle, and it's all about the teachings of Teresa of Ávila. And so I did a lot of preparatory work before I even started this 40 days. And then I began the 40 days. I did my best to not have expectations. I gave myself some containers. I have a journal that I wanted to write letters to my soul, because Teresa of Ávila, her teachings are all about entering the inner castle, and the inner castle is your soul. All right. So in the inner castle, there are many mansions. There are 7 mansions. And, a lot of those mansions basically are you doing your inner work, right? It's all about letting this human vessel of ours move past the resistances to allowing in the harmony of the spheres into our lives. So a lot of Teresa's mansions are all about doing this inner work. So the way I ended up emulating this woman, this person that I can't, I'm a mystic without a monastery. I have a regular life. I have a husband. I have a dog. I'm not I'm not a Christian. Don't have a religion. What I decided to do is to have a journal where I wrote letters to my own soul, okay, emulating Teresa's connection with her inner soul. I'm sure she did a lot of writing. She wrote a book. She wrote a number of different things. And then the other thing that I did, which of course Teresa I doubt it was part of her life, but I brought in the dream arc animals, because my way through my own inner work, what she calls these different mansions, is through the Gene Keys and the dream arc. And so I brought the dream arc in. I brought 12 animals in with me to work with me as archetypal energies for my soul to talk to me through. The more refined aspects of our soul, language becomes somewhat difficult, and our soul will talk to us in archetype. And that's why the dream arc animals, taking 12 of them with me, was such a wonderful idea, because the system of archetypes was already built within me. And and I was guided to pick these specific ones because these were clearly things that I needed to mull over in my own soul to become even clearer for my higher soul to enter. So anyway, I had a journal. I had an art journal, which I have done I've done an art journal page for every single one of the animals, plus a couple more. And that was a surprise. I wasn't sure I was actually going to do any art, and I did. This art journal page actually began with these words right here. I was listening to Richard Rudd on a podcast, and he made the statement that fear is finite. And that just grabbed my imagination. And then, very soon after, he said, we want to vanquish our victimhood. I have kept the conversation going with my soul now for all 40 days, and I'm not going to stop. I think this actually has proven to be a practice run. A practice run of what the rest of my life is going to look like. I am saying that this is not going to stop. This journal is going to keep going, and then I'm going to have another volume and another volume. And these are letters to my soul. And then I also, in this video, wanted to bring you along a little bit with what happened during these 40 days for me. So here's what the robin said. For 40 days, you must imagine yourself as a great soul. And what I got from that is that all of these great souls, Jesus, Buddha, Teresa of Ávila, Merlin, any of the saints, any of these people who became awakened here on earth, they are still human in a human body. They are not unlike us. And they were all wounded healers. All right? They were all wounded healers, just like I am. I'm not done. I didn't get done in 40 days. You can't put a meat thermometer in me and say, oh, look, she's at her awakened state. Of course not. I am a wounded healer. As it says here on my art journal page, I took a couple of quotes from the Dream Arc and put them on this page along with other people's words. And I really love the one that says, how can you make plans as a caterpillar? Right? Truly, how can you? There is just so much. There it is. How can you make plans as a caterpillar? And in truth, every single person on this planet is a great one, has the potential to be a great one. And it's just, where are we on the continuum is the question. And I guess my desire for these 40 days was to find where I am on the continuum, and to get a little more intimate with the idea of bringing divinity into my humanity. So here's the rest of what the robin says. You must reinvent your life from the inside out. And what I realized as I was doing all of these 40 days and thinking of how Carolyn Mace interpreted this Spanish mystic's work, Teresa's work, is that I've already, even before I started the 40 days, I have been doing this work ever since I found the gene keys. Teresa of Ávila calls our shadows our reptiles. Okay, so she spends a number of in a number of her mansions. She is working she wrote this book for her fellow sisters. Okay, almost like an instruction manual on how to greet and meet and find your higher self, right? And to find your own divinity. And so that's what I have been doing already. It's not like I started doing that on my 40 days. I've been doing that for years now. And I am through many of those mansions and continue to go back to those mansions, because this is not like I said, this is not something that you're going to be put in the oven and you're cooked and you're done. No, you are a work in progress all the time. You are heaven on earth in a human body, working out how to figure out how to get that heaven out there, So, and I'm just saying a bunch of stuff here that's just making this video longer because I don't know exactly how to explain this. But I think from that one statement, you must reinvent your life from the inside out, that the Robin says. I didn't need to reinvent my life. I just needed to double down on my life, to tighten up those places that I'm letting my shadows slide, to bring in a little more harmony, to bring in a lot more compassion for others, to refine a lot of these messages that I've been getting from the universe, to listen more, to bring heaven to earth even more in my day-to-day life, through my own expression, through my own lived experience, and then through my experience of expressing it to you. Let me read to you what I typed up from the Dream Arc text of the owl. I am the owl. I see with eyes wide open into the night. Whatever you do not wish to see, I see it. Someone somewhere is provoking something in you, some discomfort. Probably you can see the problem inside them, but what you haven't realized is that there is a judgment and an expectation inside you. There is something that you want from them, and because you are not getting it, you are provoked. The compassionate view is to breathe space between you, and then gently let go of the thing you desire. Sometimes we cannot stand the suffering of others because it makes us suffer. The source of this pattern, therefore, is not the other, but you. To love another is to give them the freedom to find out the truth themselves. In this, you must trust in the unseen. You are here to model wisdom in action, which means that your wise eyes must only be trained constantly within. I don't feel like these 40 days are even ending exactly, because I'm going to continue communicating, communing, connecting with my soul. These 40 days have been an inspiration, right? I will say goodbye to the animals. I may say goodbye to Teresa. I may say goodbye to Carolyn Mace. But I'm going to continue to hold myself to a higher standard, because you can't learn less. And once you learn about your shadows and your gifts and even your cities, you can't keep playing in the shadow realm all the time and think that you are in any way, shape, or form helping this planet to evolve. Because once you know about the shadows, it's your job to use those as those seeds for your gifts, and then it's your job to spread those gifts to the world, and in whatever capacity. Even if I'm just beaming this out, beaming my being out, as I'm walking the woodland with my dog, or ordering coffee at my grocery store, or just having Christmas dinner with my husband, that's my gift to the universe, right? So, yeah, I was about to apologize for having this video be a little confusing. But it's kind of hard to do a video of an ending when I don't feel like I'm ending. I feel like I'm really just beginning. It's almost like my 40 days was a prelude to living living my life as a wounded healer in the footsteps of a great one, right? Because I'm actually in the footsteps of my own greatness. And I wish that for all of you. So, thank you. Thank you for witnessing me. And thank you for witnessing whichever ones of my videos you happen to watch. And yeah, I will see you with my next inspired project. Bye-bye. You know, this is a spiritual journey I'm on, and if I can hold that beautiful ideal in everything that I do in my life, if I can have the courage to trust, if I can have the courage to speak with my authentic voice, if I can have the courage to bring love and understanding and forgiveness to every one of my relationships, what a dream it would be.